Hey guys, this one's just going to be a quick video today. Basically, I'm going to be showing you how to do 3D for CSGO skins in Photoshop. It'll be similar to what you might experience in-game in the workshop editor, but it's an easy way to quickly update and see what's happening on your weapon. And you can render it out through Photoshop for a very high resolution image if you need. So we're going to go to our resources folder where we've got our .object files. We'll click OK to that dialog. That will insert our weapon into the scene. You can also just click and drag it into the general workspace to create a new document, but it's easier to do it this way. Now, when you insert object file into Photoshop, it should prompt you to change your workspace to the 3D workspace. If not, it should look like this on Essentials. Flip over to 3D and you should be in the 3D workspace. And that will give you this option. You can also put that option there manually for Essentials, but who cares? So first thing we're going to want to do is change our current view from custom view, where it isn't aligned to anything, to being one of the aligned views. So we're going to select from the right, and we're going to zoom in by changing it to 0.2. Sounds good. We can also adjust our document size by clipping canvas, make the width about the same, make the height half that, proceed, and that will give us a slightly better view of what we're doing. Control 0 to zoom to full scale image if you didn't know that already. And yeah, so what we want to do next is to view your textures on the model in Photoshop. You'll want to come over to the diffuse. Now you'll see the AWP has two different objects. This object, which heavens knows what that is, and the weapon. So this object is actually the sides of the scope. So if we come back over here, we can rotate it and we can see the ends of the scopes. And basically that should in-game just use the default texture, and when you're actually in-game with the skin, it'll just use the glass. So we'll re-enable our weapon, we'll come down to the texture, and we'll want to replace the diffuse. So if you want to start from scratch, you can go New Texture, OK, and this texture will appear on your weapon. For instance, our smiley face is somewhere mangled on that. But assuming you want to actually do some work, you'll want to get rid of this, do not save it, come back down here and create a replacement texture. And this will where you'll want to select your default texture. So go back to wherever you have your default textures kept. I have a folder of TGA files. You'll want to select the AWP, double click on it, or click on press OK, and that will drop our AWP skin into the scene. So this is just our default AWP. It's a bit dark because of the lighting. You can of course change that from the infinite light, but you can do a lot of things. For instance, we can make it a sort of yellowy colour, maybe a bit more like what we might actually see in game. Who knows? Then we can bump up the intensity. It looks pretty rubbish, to be honest. Oh well. We can come back to our weapon, which now rotates freely. What we'll want to do is go back to selecting the entire thing, however, so as not to separate those two components which aren't all that necessary. So now we've got your skin in the scene, we can go over here and you'll see your diffuse right here. So you'll want to double click on the diffuse and that will open the texture, and this is where you can save as to save a separate copy of it. For now we're just going to create a new layer we're going to paint over the top of it, so we'll switch back to Essentials quickly. Let's pick a nice blue colour. Ignore that eraser, ignore that too. Blue. Let's set this to darken. Multiply maybe. Multiply looks good. And then we'll switch back over here after saving this, so Control S. And we should have a slightly blue tinted all, as you can see. Now you can do a lot of the things with this. You can render it out if you so desire. I would, however, suggest changing the light to be something more visible, perhaps adding some more shading. You won't, however, get the wear if you render it out by this method, so I would also suggest using screenshots from in-game to demonstrate your item on the workshop. But that's basically how you use the 3D functionality in Photoshop for a CSGO skin. Ta-da!